Welcome to Alpha Marketing, your go-to resource for unlocking the full potential of your small to medium-sized business. Hosted by Aaron Shishilla, CEO of Wolfpack Advising. Now, let's learn how to dominate your market.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Marketing Alpha podcast. Today, we actually have a really special guest. The first time we're having a guest on the podcast, we have Trandon. So, Trandon, it's not Brandon. It's like Brandon, but with a T, right? Right, Trandon?
I mean, you just stole my slogan, man, but I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm Trandon, gross cost, like the name Brandon, but with a T. I have all T's in my family, so my mom wanted Brandon. My dad said you got to put a T on that thing. So, Trandon is my name.
Well, awesome, Trandon. I'll refrain from calling you Brandon.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll probably leave if you call me Brandon. So,
well, show us your shirt and then tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with Secure 24.
Yeah, so I love home inspectors. As you can see, some of you guys have seen me wear this shirt out and about. So, like I said, my name's Trandon, gross cost. I live here in St. Louis, Missouri. I have two boys. Hopefully, they don't interrupt us, but I know they're at school. So I work for Secure 24. We're an authorized dealer of ADT, and I get the opportunity to build referral partnerships with home inspectors nationwide to serve and help your clients save money on their home security and then generate another revenue stream for your bottom line. I started in 2016. Never thought this would become my career. Didn't even know that I was building a brand. But here we are today with Aaron to talk about how all that happened. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to get through some of the topics. I love the topics that you kind of bring to the table. I think it needs to be taught about more just in general in the home inspection industry, or just really when it comes to marketing in general. So we're going to be talking about personal branding. We're going to be talking about sales strategies. I'm eager to get into that with you, Trandon, Brandon with a T. And then lastly, I want to touch a little bit on your cold calling success as well and like how that's gone. I think a lot of people in this industry can get a really good value out of the things that you've done at Secure 24, and I'm eager to share that. So to get started, I wanted to start with personal branding, and just tell me a little bit about, like, we've talked about it back and forth, but tell me a little bit about how it plays into your role, what you do with your own personal brand, how you think that plays into your success, and just start there, and then we'll ask a few more tailored questions.
Yeah, well, I wear the shirt for a reason. So I want to show you guys. Let me go back. I actually pulled out all my shirts. So Crylike is a real estate group, so I know this is not for home inspectors, but I first started from wearing this shirt right here. It says, "I'm Trandon, I love Crylike Realtors." And then I had them all signed. So the reason why I did this, and I'd still do this today, is because for them, I was, well, let's go back. So ADT is a brand. Everyone knows ADT, the blue signs. I have to stand out somehow. If I just say I'm an ADT guy, I get put in a box with people that have lied, that people who have not paid people who have taken clients but never followed up with people, and I don't want to be put in that box. So my mission, brother, is to be the most respected, honorable, and genuine ADT guy in the nation. And I do that by being genuine, by wearing goofy shirts, by following up, by doing everything we're going to talk about today. But the reason why I wore this shirt in the first place is because when I was their ADT person, they were having a talent show. And I said, "Oh, that's great. Can I be in it?" And they were like, "Oh, you're a vendor." I said, "I know." And they said, "What are you going to do?" And kind of like what Aaron and I did. And I got up there in front of 700 realtors, and I sang a song about real estate. I had a standing ovation. And that was kind of one of the first things of building my brand. Seeing this guy that, like, wow, he's goofy. He writes songs and makes us laugh. He's probably trustworthy. And then I ended up gaining a lot of business from that. And here we are today. So, yeah, it's definitely, I think people want to work with people they can know, like, and trust. And that's my mission, to be that guy for thousands across the nation. So.
I think that's perfect. You kind of capitalized on something that even in the digital marketing agency space, for such as myself, there's a lot of people out there that don't trust digital marketing agencies. And I would imagine there's a lot of people out there that hear the words ADT and they're like, "No, thank you. I'm good." And so for you to kind of approach it in this fashion and leverage your own personality, your own personal brand, I think it brings out that trust and credibility, or at least the people willing to just sit down and have a conversation with you initially to see if it's something that they might be interested in, even if it's not. But you're obviously a lot on social media. So how is your social media playing a part into your personal branding? Because like you're in another state, you work with people all over the country. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize. So, living in St. Louis, Missouri, I have about 4 partners here in St. Louis. Everyone else is remote. Um, I'll get to that, but the first time I met a lot of home inspectors was at the Georgia Southeastern Conference in Duluth, Georgia. Shannon and Corey put that thing on. I was a rookie back in 2016, did not know what I was doing, but one thing I started there, and I've done, everyone knows this, is I take pictures with everybody I meet. And I do that for a reason. One, it makes me feel good. I just like taking pictures with people. I can utilize that picture for years to come. I actually just posted from that conference about 6 months ago, reposted all those pictures, and one thing, it brought a bunch of memories back for people. It put me in front of people again. I was able to tag people, so all of a sudden I'm popping up on people's Facebook after years. So taking pictures of people everywhere, that's Aaron and I. Aaron and I have never done business together, ever. But we built a friendship because of just being genuine people, taking pictures together, and all of a sudden here I am today. So social media is huge because, social media, when you're sleeping, social media is working for you. I love that about social media. I used to post, this is kind of goofy, but I used to put posts out there, and then I would come on the next day and no one liked them, and I was like, taking that thing down. But I realized over time, like my buddy Bill Compton, who runs, he's an inspection company out of Atlanta. Every time I would see him, he would start asking questions about things that he would see online. And I was like, Bill, you don't even like him. He goes, I know, but I still see him. And I thought, I just need to keep posting, keep being real, keep posting, keep putting things out there. Not all content is going to hit a home run. But like one thing I started recently is cold plunging. I built my own cold plunge tank, and I post about it because 1, it's crazy, and 2, it's relatable. So.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. So if home inspectors were to replicate what you're doing, what would you tell them to do if they're wanting to do it themselves for targeting real estate agents? What would be your advice to them?
Yeah, don't focus so much on your business page. Have a Facebook business page, but don't let that be your main focus because people are going to get to know you through the things you post. So I would be careful about some of the things that you put out there that would turn people against you. I'm not saying don't stand for truth. I'm a Christian and I stand for truth all the time. And some people might not work with me because of that, and that's okay. I'm not mad about it. But there's some things we just got to be careful about what you post out there because it might turn people off. But ultimately, I would say start posting often. Post about your life. Here's the deal, man. One of the things that I did, and I didn't really mean to, I guess I meant to do this, but I didn't know I was building a brand. I went through a divorce back in 2017 after being married 10 years. And it sucked, man. I still deal with things today through it. Well, I just shared on Facebook what was going on. I wasn't trying to get a bunch of charity likes, but I was just sharing what was going on because I want people to know that we're all in the same boat sometimes. And through that, I was able to gain more relationships with people. I went through COVID back in 2022, 21. I was in the hospital for 8 days, and I literally tracked my entire journey. I looked back and I was like, what am I doing? Bill Compton, who I mentioned, he's mentioned that many times. He goes, man, I was watching your whole journey just being with you the entire time. Now, me and Bill never worked together, but Bill was a guy that would be my corner if I ever needed someone to just stand in the gap for me for gaining business or something like that. So I would tell inspectors, just start posting about your life, man. Just share what's going on. Share the good times, share the hard times. Everyone has emotions. Everyone has ups and downs, and everyone can relate to that.
I think there's a lot of truth when it comes to that. I think a lot of people try to put on a front when it comes to social media, including myself. I feel like sometimes I catch myself and maybe I need to think about some things in my life that would be beneficial to share with others, so they don't just look at social media and think that somebody's life is perfect from those particular posts. So I'm glad that you're sharing those sides too.
So that's the personal side of it, but it's still important to be involved in real estate groups. Every major city has a real estate group. When I first started, I was like, Atlanta real estate group, because Atlanta is my main market. There's 10,000 of them. Not really, but there's a lot of them. Get in there and just, hey guys, here's what I do. We'll love to be a great referral partner for you. And home inspectors, make your information easy to find. Aaron, there are so many home inspectors where I'm on their Instagram and I'm like, what is this guy's name? And I'm looking, I'm a hunter. I'm looking like, I don't even know who this is. If I can't figure it out, I guarantee you a home buyer or a realtor has no idea. So whether LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, make your information easy to find, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of people out there that is very difficult to find, and that's what I do for a living. So the average person ain't going to keep looking.
That's pretty funny. Speaking of you being a hunter, let's get into your sales strategy a little bit. Like, so talked about the personal branding or whatever, but I know that I really want to know, like at the beginning, how many cold calls you made in a day. But tell me a little bit about your sales strategy, actually like hitting the ground running. What are you doing day in and day out? And what could these home inspectors be doing or hiring people to do to help them, outreach or find new real estate agents to work with?
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, I was making over 100 phone calls a day because no one knew who I was. So I had to. Now I don't make that many phone calls a day, but I also have a network of people because of the work that I put in for over 8 years of 100 plus phone calls, taking pictures, the follow-up process, all that. I'm able to still work hard, but strategically it's a little different for me. I'm on Facebook, or not Facebook, social media a whole lot more. I run a buffer account, which posts for me. I come up with content, but it posts every day for me. Now, a lot of personal stuff I'm posting. But really, it's I'll probably always have to cold call at some point because there's constantly, Georgia is an unlicensed state, and there's constantly new inspectors coming there. I do call more than Georgia. But a few things. Don't ever give up. One, I know it's simple, but it's true. Second, don't take it personal when people are a jerk to you on the phone. Realtors probably get blown up all the time, and I don't know how we can take it personal when they don't even know who we are personally. They just hear our voice sometimes, and like, oh, I hate, just don't take it personal. They might be having a bad day. We all have bad days. Try another time, and read the book Go for No, because that book is fantastic. It's 100 pages, and it'll make you want to make more phone calls and actually get more no's, because the more no's you get, the better yeses you get. And so, and then also diversify your process. Rob Lemoyne, who runs RIA and now works for Launchpad, he called me a few years ago and had me on an IEB call and said, "Hey man," he said, "your follow-up is very tasteful." I was like, "Oh, that's fun. That's a good way to put it." And he goes, "You're never just texting. You're never just emailing. You have like 10 different ways of doing it." And I'll just ramble off real quick. Guys, calling, texting, audio text, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, LinkedIn Messenger, a mailer, a handwritten letter. So this right here, I was going to show you this. So this is just something small. So this is just, I made on Canva. If you don't know what Canva is, you're missing out. Canva, go there. And this is just me saying thank you, my name, me and my girlfriend's Trandon Gross Calls, like Brandon with a T, John 3:16, God loves you. This isn't even for my referral partners. I've been sending these out to our technicians, just saying thank you so much for the work that you do. That's also part of my branding. I want our technicians to know that there's someone back in corporate that cares about them. I know there's a lot more people that do, but like a normal guy, a normal account manager cares about the work that they're doing. And so I've been personally writing on there, "Hey, Tom, thanks for installing 200 alarms this year." But inspectors, you can do the same thing for your realtors. "Hey, Jeannie, awesome job closing 20 houses this month. Here's my business card. We'd love to be a great referral partner for you." Simple as that. Now, you cannot control, it's like forgiving someone. You cannot control how they respond all the time. But you can control the work that you put in to send that letter out. And I encourage you to keep doing it over and over and over again.
So make those cold calls, get that book Go for No. Do your follow-ups. I love how you're mentioning omni-channel and essentially looking at all the different mediums of contact besides just texting and calling, because that can definitely get a little bland, especially like Facebook, and Facebook Messenger, I feel like is so underused, maybe by some of the spammers out there and like people trying to do like the Bitcoin stuff. Mm-hmm. But I love that you're mentioning that. Tell me a little bit about like, if you were to start like from scratch, or an inspector were to start, today, what does their day look like? How many cold calls should they be doing, or they were to hire somebody? And then what does that follow-up process look like? How do they keep track of all that? What's your recommendation for them?
So we have our own CRM, which is what does CRM stand for, Aaron?
Customer Relationship Manager.
Yeah, sorry. I just say CRM all the time, just like I say ADT all the time. All right. We have our own CRM, so that's how it's tracked. But like anything vital, I put in my calendar. Anything I don't, because I'm going to miss the tasks on my CRM. Anything I don't want to miss out on goes in my calendar on my phone. This is called today. I won't miss out on this. You definitely, and if you don't get a CRM, get an Excel sheet. I mean, this guys take a YouTube course on Excel, like, and just watch it and just like track from there. Like, you got to track. If you don't track, you're never going to follow up with the right people. But I would be hopping into real estate offices. Now, through EXP, those don't exist. I don't think they do. But there's still real estate offices all over the place. Not all realtors use one home inspector in there. Get in there, build some trust. One of the ways that I've actually done that, I can't see, but over here is my my guitar in the corner over there. Here's the deal, guys. Y'all have talents. Y'all have different talents. One of my talents is playing guitar. I love to play guitar. Aaron knows this. We wrote a love song.
We don't know. Please no.
People may not know. But what Aaron doesn't realize, or maybe he does, that was, so when Aaron and I had to do this love song on his Wolfpack conference, which was fantastic, he got me on stage. I love that. I wasn't embarrassed. I was on stage in front of people with my guitar. When I go to real estate offices, I take my guitar friends and I make up songs that are stupid and goofy, and people laugh at them and they remember you. If I could fly a drone right, I know there's a lot of drone talk on the humor page, I would take a drone up in that stinking real estate office and fly the thing around. Like, I know you might think people know how to do these things. They don't. They like bring them into your world. Teach them more about your world, or just teach them about your talents. Hop in there, build relationships, follow up with them. And if you guys ever need more tips outside of that, I'm happy to walk you through more what I do and kind of help you out with that. But yeah.
So you mentioned the CRM. How many times are you following up with somebody? Like, if you find somebody that you're like, hey, this real estate agent is, top agent or whatever, how many times should I follow up with them, and like how often?
Yeah, so I have like a 12-step process over the course of 3 months. Wade Williamson, with an accident, he put this out a few years ago at one of the conferences, and I'm just a lot of it I was already doing. And I was like, I like this. A lot of things I do, guys, is video messages. I'm telling you right now, I know it feels goofy. Put your phone in front of your face and record, hey, realtor, I'm Trandon. I love to work with you. Here's my information, and send that thing out. I'm telling you, that will go farther than you think. You don't even have to edit it, as long as you can hear the sound and all that. So, yeah, so I have a process that, like I said, it call first next week, or call and email. Next week would be a follow-up to Facebook, or just whatever. Each person I'm different with, but each week I'm following up a certain way. Now, if they're interested right away, I'll follow up a few days later after the email, because half the time, you may not deal with this, half the time my emails aren't even getting delivered correctly. So I'm waiting for a week thinking they have my email and everything showed up. So I'm like, gosh dang it. So yeah, but in general, though, I have about a 12 process follow-up, so that after 3 months, if they've not responded to me, they're probably not ready right now, or it's just a no. Mm-hmm. But I will say, I don't ever take a no until someone tells me no. And I'm not annoying about it. Example, real quick, I had a guy, I shared this actually from my cold plunge when I was sharing a story, and he reached out to me through Facebook. I met him in IB, and he goes, hey man, I'm ready to talk now. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is pretty. This guy will bring in about 100 referrals to us per month. And the reason why I was excited, because I had talked to him 4 or 5 times at IAB over the last 2 to 3 years. Nice guy, but never ready. And for me, I'm not like an Andy Elliott who is really good at jumping in there and all these different things. I take people's word for it. All right, you're not ready. If I convince you now, you're probably not going to work with me for very long. So I just built a relationship with this guy, was real and genuine, followed up with him occasionally. Hey man, I just want to check in, see if that person that you're working with is still there or not. Well, anyways, on this guy's time, he reached out to me and goes, Trandon, I'm ready to go. And the cool thing about that is when he was ready, I was the guy he thought of. Not another alarm guy. I was the guy, because of the work that I did over the course of 2 or 3 years, just building trust with him.
Do you ever feel like there's, like, even with those video messages, you could just, people want to mass email a bunch of people, or like a huge email list, and then call it a day and be done. Do you ever feel like you're doing too much work or going too deep? How do you know you're spending too much time with somebody that is maybe not responsive, or like, how do you decide, like, hey, I'm going to send a mass email versus, what your approach is very individual, like keeping the notes and the individual contacts. So how do you feel about, the way that you're approaching it versus like mass?
So I do mass, by the way. Mass is part of my process. So like it's still there. I also use something called slide dial. I wouldn't use this all the time, guys. A slide dial is neat. Some of you guys have got this from me. It basically, it's a call that drops to your voicemail, but it has to be generic. So it has to be like, hey, this is Trandon. You can't say someone's name because then everyone will get that. One of my partners got it one time. He's like, Trandon, I'm pretty sure that wasn't a direct message to me. He goes, I could tell. I know you well enough. I'm like, yeah, you're right, but I just need to get it out. But I'll say this: now that I've been doing this longer, I don't feel like I have I said this earlier, but I don't really feel like I have a lot of cold calls because of, here's how I warm them up for myself. I will find that person. You can call it Facebook stalking, call it whatever you want. I don't care. Here's my deal. If someone's going to put it on Facebook, they don't care what the world sees it. That's the way I see it. But go to their LinkedIn, their Facebook, try to get to know them a little bit prior to you calling them so that when you're calling them, you already have a little bit of knowledge about this person. You don't feel like it's as cold. So that I do a little bit of research prior to the call, and then when I call them, and then but you asked about when you call it quits. Dude, it's different per person, honestly. Like I had a guy for 4 years I reached out to. I even sent him $20 in the mail. I said, I just want to have one conversation with you, and he never even called me. That turd, he never did. But I will say one company, and I want to say this real quick. This right here is my anniversary card that I send out. So the Elite Group out of California, Chad Head, Tamar, Josh Niehaus, and I love those guys. Close friends with all of them. I hunted that account, and they do like 20,000 inspections a year, so they're huge. I hunted that account for over 5 years. 5 years. I was told they're untouchable. I love when people tell me people are untouchable. But untouchable, you can't get them. Just like I was told, U.S. Inspection untouchable. Been working with them for 4 years. And so I just started the Trandon process. What I've been telling you guys the whole time, just being real, genuine, not pushy, but on their radar. And then I sent one of their former leaders something like this, an anniversary card for him and his wife. And I've switched it to this. All it says is happy anniversary, love is not a fight, but it's something we're fighting for. My picture, my name on the back. This is my updated one. I just leave marriage, family, and leadership resources. I have the Dad Judge podcast, Craig Rochelle Leadership, Ed Milet, so people like there's something tangible for them to apply to their life. A little about what I do, and the QR code to my website. Well, my original one I wrote out to him, sent it to him. Me and AJ, my boss, ended up being on a call with Elite back in the day. And on the call, this former leader said, man, I got to tell you, and he didn't know me. He's like, I'm taking this call because Trandon sent me an anniversary card. He goes, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was kind of weird that he sent me an anniversary card, but he was like, that was really cool. Like, that showed like he went above and beyond. And that's what it is. I'm going above and beyond, doing the things that not the average person is doing. And so now I have a running list of anniversaries, and I've actually sent it to people that are divorced. Sorry, the heart was there.
Oh, no.
I don't know. You can't track divorces. I don't know. If someone sent me one, I'd be like, I ain't divorced.
No.
But you can't control that. Luckily, one of my good partners. But so these are one of the things that I do. That and like I said, I used to write letters, but I just took it to this. That way I can just drop it in, and I usually write happy 4 years, happy 6 years. And you're like, well, how do you find the information? Facebook. Go on someone's Facebook, see their married thing, and it usually will not all the time. It usually will show you the date, and you just take that, track it, put it in your CRM or however you track things. I have an Excel sheet, and then every month I used to try to send it out per day. At the beginning of the month, I just send them all out for the whole month. Hey, happy anniversary this year. I'm telling you, this is the things that, everyone, birthday cards are good, but, you can do birthday
People
stuff
don't expect
online.
it.
Huh?
People don't expect it. You're going,
That's
the
exactly,
video
yeah.
messages, you're going way above, like you mentioned, above and beyond anybody else and what the average, quote-unquote, hunter would do, and you're being genuine about it.
Yeah. And so, to finish that story, Elite Group has been working with me for 3 years now. I'm very close with all their staff. I'm friends with all their staff. And they've helped me gain other business, and it just comes down to me being genuine and real, and not pushing them, but also being on the radar. So once again, you're not pushing them, but you're still on the radar.
That's awesome, man. Well, I got a couple last few questions, and then we'll wrap it up if that sounds good to you.
Sure.
Okay, so what's your mindset going into a cold call, and how are you handling a rejection?
Like I said, I do a little bit of research prior to calling them, so I know. I try to look at their picture, just kind of get an idea, just so I feel like I know this person, even though I don't. And rejections happen, but I mean, you just really, it's one thing, or like, there's a lot of rejections out there, but nowadays I love it when they're like, well, like I said, I worked with this guy and they did this. So I'm like, well, you better not work with me. All I'm asking for is just a conversation with you. It's kind of a hard question to answer, Aaron, just because there's so many different rejections out there. I don't really call them rejections, but I just call them obstacles. You just have to climb over and figure it out. You know, if option A and B isn't working, find option C. And it may not be a closed deal on that call, and that is okay. Friends, that is okay if someone does not say yes right away. I actually don't like it personally I'm not a fan when an inspector tells me yes the first call. I'm like,
it ruins the chase. You like the chase.
Not just the chase. Like, I want them to know what they're getting into. Like, it's nothing crazy what they're getting into. I mean, literally, we're a company that's going to help your clients get a better price on home security, but we're calling them very low pressure. You're going to make money. I want you to know the full process going into this thing, so something doesn't happen. Like, I didn't know about that. Well,
yeah.
So,
I get that too.
I also like to chase too. You're right.
I feel like sometimes when I have consultations, some people are just like willing and ready, and they're like, "Let's get started." And while I do love that, I almost want to say, "Okay, like let's slow down. Let me like answer the questions, that maybe you haven't asked, because then it can alleviate some of the issues going forward on expectations." So you make a great point there. You actually answered the third one already, which is how do you structure follow-ups to stay persistent without being pushy? I think you kind of touched on that quite a bit, but and besides the tactic of looking at their Facebook before you make a cold call or before you're reaching out to somebody, what are other specific tactics you utilize to make your calls more effective?
Well, this isn't so much effective calls, but I have a call tracker. Not inspectors, I don't really know your day to day. So like when it comes to building your business, I don't exactly know how you go about it. Like I'm not a home inspector. I work with a lot of you guys, but so I apologize if this isn't always tangible for you. But I have ADHD times 1,000. So like I have to have something. So I don't have it with me, but I have a tracker, like a list, I have a chart of 40, and I just literally, as I'm calling someone, it's kind of goofy. I'm actually just kind of coloring that little box in. I don't know why. It helps me stay on point, but then also, that way I know 4 hours later I've made 40 phone calls. Not just guess, how many did I make? I want to know what I've done that day, how many calls I've made that day. That way I can track it, stuff like that. But also, too, just getting in the mindset of like, all right, for the next hour, I'm doing this. No matter what happens, I mean, obviously things pop up, but for the next hour, I'm going to make this thing happen, and I'm going to call these people. And also, you want to make sure, too, you're calling at a good time frame. Like, example, I'm in St. Louis. I can't call California at 8 a.m. because it's 6 a.m. there. So,
yeah. That's a good point. I've heard when it comes to like the drawing or the notepad, like I'm constantly just scribbling on my notepad sometimes when I'm on calls.
Yeah.
And I've heard that's actually because when you're not face to face somebody, there's a lot of nonverbal communication going on at the same time, like even on this call. And so we're communicating with our hands, we're communicating with our face and our emotions. And when there's a phone call, you can't do any of that. So that's why people end up pacing or end up drawing and feel more calm or relaxed when they're doing that, because that's that nonverbal that they're making up for. Just something I've heard.
It's that saying, be where your feet are. I strive to do that with all areas of my life. But here, like, I need to, like, be focused on the call. Because I also just don't want to call someone just to respond to get my point across. I want to be listening to them. I'm also taking notes. Like, that's another thing, guys. When you're calling someone, like, I don't know how you guys track your stuff, but take notes. Like, if someone's like, hey, I got to go, my kid's got a soccer game, I take notes of that. That way when I call them, hey, I'm Trandon here. I know we talked last week. Hey, how was your kid's soccer game? It's like this continual conversation that keeps going. So if you were to see my CRM, I literally have notes for years about anything someone tells me on the phone. I try to write it down just to keep track of that remote relationship I'm building.
It sounds like ultimately you just care a lot about people.
I try, man, and that ultimately comes down to, I should say this at the beginning of the call. Everything I'm based off of, Aaron, and it's okay if this isn't you guys or whoever's listening, it's okay, is a Bible verse that says, love the Lord God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. I may not treat myself well a whole lot sometimes, but like I love myself, and I want to treat people the way I want to be treated. And so I take pictures because at the end of the day, I like taking pictures. I post on social media because at the end of the day, I like to do that, and I know people like to interact that way. So I just also can you really be successful if you're not having fun? I'm having fun. So.
Yeah, I think those are really good words to live by. Even if you don't necessarily I don't know, just treating thy neighbor or treating other people like human beings or the way you would want to be treated. It's a very easy thing to say, but I think a lot of people are very forgetful of that or see it on social media and then, talk behind their back or whatever it is. And I think there needs to be a lot more just appreciation for other people. And, we're all in this thing called life together. So I love that. Well, let's end it off with one last thing. Brandon with a T. So if there was one actionable item for the average home inspector, maybe they have a couple inspectors, maybe they have one marketing person, maybe they don't, maybe it's just them. If there's one piece of advice you tell them to say, start doing this, and that's going to get you your first step into the ways of Brandon with a T, what would be that one actionable thing you would tell them, hey, this is super simple, do this, and then take another step after that?
If you don't like being in front of a camera, that's okay, but find someone that does and put them all over the place with your company as its focus. I was thinking about this on the driving around yesterday. Not everybody is outgoing. That's okay. That's totally fine. But I would not put yourself on the camera if you don't know how to smile on the camera. I would find someone, an admin or someone else that can do that for you. You tell them what to say, or maybe they just do it themselves, and then push them all over the place with your company in the forefront.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. There's a lot of, I feel like in doing inspections, you can have a mix between of people that are just outgoing and very talkative, sometimes too talkative, but you can also have those inspectors that just want the vacant house and just stay in their little tunnel of looking at.
I'm not saying that's wrong. I mean, it's just not me. It's just I don't mean. I'm just giving you an idea, guys. I hold the. And it's always weird saying this, but I hold the record for most alarms sold in a month. It was 365 alarms that were sold in a month, just from the relationships that I built over the years. I have a goal of selling 1,000 in a month over the next year, and that's not gonna happen just from hoping it happens. That's gonna happen from a strategic plan. One thing I want to end with, Aaron, for me is for you guys too. When you're making your goals this year for 2025, I want to challenge you with something. Set 3 different goals. Set a baseline goal, something that it's going to be tough, but you're going to get there. Set an amazing goal, something that's going to push you a little bit. You're going to and then set a miraculous goal. I had a miraculous goal of making $500,000 a few years ago. I'm not there yet, but I'm pushing myself. I'm pushing myself. From alarm sales, from alarm sales. But not by being a sleazy sales guy, by being someone that people can know, like, and trust, whether they're working with me or whether they're not working with me.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, man. Well, to end it off here, obviously a lot of people already know you, but, end with the question, where can people find you if they want to connect with you? Obviously, you're on social media. Don't look at the love song, please.
Please look at it.
Where can people find you?
Hey, she didn't know inspectors were crazy about you. Anyways, if I could, well, I have a website called brandonwithat.com. Needs to be updated by Aaron, but besides that, it's you can find, that's the best way I can give myself a number. Just go to literally brandonwithat, just the letter T.com. All my stuff's on there. You can find me. You can watch a really cool video about me. It's not that cool, but my kids and stuff like that. And if I can help, continue this conversation and just more tips outside of this, I love it. You don't got to work with me for that. I'd love to have your business, but I'd be happy to share this. I love being a networker. I love putting people together and seeing people succeed. And if I can pray for you, I'd love to do that too. So,
well, thank you, Trandon. Thank you, Brandon with the T, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Marketing Alpha podcast. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to Alpha Marketing. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other business owners and marketers. Your support enables us to continue bringing you actionable advice and the tools you need to thrive. Join us next time for more insights with Aaron Shishilla, and keep striving to be the alpha in your market.